Hello, my name is Amos Tarfa, and today I want to share briefly about the topic handling disappointments during the COVID-19 season. The reason why I want to address this topic is because I just think about all the plans that people have had to cancel because of the pandemic. You think about plans for, vacation plans. You think about even academic plans. I know that some standardized exams have been canceled for students. The MCAT, for example, was canceled, I believe, at one point. I don't know what the update is on that. And so I hear about these situations and I think to myself, there's going to be a lot of disappointments here and there. I mean, I had friends who were going to attend they were going to go to Tokyo before the Olympics, and then due to everything happening, they were unable to go. And it just makes me think about how to encourage our children, especially during this time. So first, I would love you to share how you've handled that with your children, but I also want to share some thoughts from my upbringing. Now, growing up in Nigeria, there were times where we had to deal with disappointments in terms of electricity concerns. So here's what I mean. In the part of the country that I grew up in, we did not have constant electricity. So you would have all these plans with your friends to watch Voltron, for example. Voltron is like Power Rangers, just that I think it's better. You want to watch Voltron. And so you have plans to watch Voltron about this big robot, and it's going to play at 4 o'clock. And then the power goes out at 3:55. That was very disappointing. Now, that's just an example. I am not saying it's anywhere close to the coronavirus season disappointments. But my point, though, is when you have so many of those episodes every single day, disappointments, with those kinds of things that happened where I grew up, it teaches you some things. And that leads me to one of the lessons for life for today. And that is that when you want to strengthen a muscle, you must try to use it often. If you don't use a muscle often, then you won't have it as strong when you need it. What do I mean by this? If I don't do the necessary push-ups or the weightlifting I need to do for the appropriate muscles, and then I need to lift something heavy at a different time, I might not be able to do it as well as the person who has been exercising and doing what they need to do. So I want to encourage you to encourage your kids to build the muscle and the skills for handling disappointments. Because I don't think that the disappointment season is over. There's so many things some people might be looking forward to, and then they might get disappointed again. So how do we train for that? Well, first of all, we have to have the right mindset and the right expectation. So when these power outages happened where I grew up, we knew that these things could happen. And when they did happen, it was easier to handle the blow. I mean, it was tough. It was easier to handle it. So now we look at coronavirus era, for example. You have plans for something, and all of a sudden it's canceled. Well, people need to be reminded that some things might be canceled. Now, whether or not they should be canceled, depending on the thing in question, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact of how to handle the news that it's been canceled. I heard about a boy who, got really upset, and it ruined, I would say, a lot of his life just because of so many things that had happened, which led to him being at home, and then led to him doing things that were not productive because of how sad he was. A lot of students I know want to be with their friends, and I understand that. But I just want to encourage us in this season to teach our children how to handle disappointments. I know my kids sometimes want to do certain things, and then we tell them, sorry, that's canceled or that's closed. And that's tough, and I see that. But I just want to encourage us in this era, in this season, to encourage our children to recognize that in life, outside of coronavirus now, in life, there will be seasons of disappointment and the seasons of difficulty. Now, when we grow up with so much before us, we sometimes forget that, right? We grow up where we have opportunities to buy things from the store that we need when we want it. But that will not always be the case, especially during the season. Remember when you had limits on what you could buy from certain stores? These are things that we need to practice, learning how to be content, learning how to be grateful in the midst of the disappointments during the coronavirus season. Of course, the Bible talks a lot about perseverance, which is very important also. Just persevering and enduring even when things are difficult. So I don't know how you've been handling it, but I just wanted to make a quick video to encourage us. As I said, I grew up with some of it, some experiences of just disappointment. And of course, still today, and for the rest of our lives on earth, we will have times where we'll be disappointed. But ultimately, the question is, how are you going to respond to the disappointment? Are you going to look on the bright side and see, well, this works out or that works out? Or are you going to focus on just the negative, on the fact that we can't do this and we can't do that, and now we're going to be all sad? And of course, there's nothing wrong with being sad for a moment, but ultimately, how will we move on beyond that? I pray that you encourage your kids. I pray we encourage one another to handle disappointments well, even during this time of just a lot going on in our world. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. God bless.